Okay, we're here again with the Homebrew hybrid trail bike. It's just over a year since I built this, so time for a bit of an update on how it rides and what changes I've made. In case you didn't follow along, let's have a quick rundown of what we got here. This is a Pivot Mach 6 version 2 carbon frame, which I got brand new at half the recommended retail price, complete with warranty, and a brand new Fox rear shock, 150mm shock. We've got 150mm RockShox Yari fork on the front. We've got a SRAM NX Eagle 1x12 drivetrain. That's 34 on the front, started off with 32 on the front, more about that later. And we've got 11 to 50, or is it 11 to 51 on the back. And conventional hubs, of course, one of the reasons for going for the Eagle drivetrain, better choice of wheels. We've got SLX brakes, we've got Ice-Tech rotors on the front and back, 160 on the back, 180 on the front. We've got Ice-Tech pads only on the back. We've got, well, we started off with these Octane 1 Solar Trail wheels, 27.5 inch wheels of course, but swapped those out recently for a set of Giant carbon wheels which I found on eBay. These came off a Giant Trans 1, I think. They're significantly narrower rims but also significantly lighter, which is why I've gone for them. Changed the tyres as well, took the opportunity to go down from 2.4 inch to 2.3 inch tyres. Overall that's a weight saving of what, I think it was 795 grams, which is not to be sniffed at. Now one downside of that is these are non-boost wheels. This is a boost spaced frame, so we've got 148mm at the back axle, 110 on the front. These wheels are 100 on the front and 142 on the back. Now that can work. All it means is that the spacing is wrong, the cog, well, everything is a little bit further in towards the hub, so you have to buy a spacer kit for the front and back. You need two 5mm spacers for the front hub. You also need a 5mm spacer under the rotor mount. On the rear you need two 3mm spacers and a 3mm spacer on the rotor mount. Then it works just fine, almost. You also need to make sure you've got a non-boost chain ring or crank and chain ring assembly. So just say a bit about that. I started off with a 32 tooth chain ring which came with the Eagle setup. Not too long ago I swapped that out for a 34, so we go up on the top end, we lose a little bit on the climbing performance at the bottom end. Of course when I went to these non-boost wheels I had to replace that again, so I went for a 34 tooth non-boost chain ring, which just means that the chain ring sits 3mm further in. Incidentally, if you go to look at replacement chain rings, you will notice for the Eagle system there seems to be what at first sight is an odd variation in the pricing for the chain rings. You'll find them for either somewhere under £20 or somewhere over £70, and of course I realise now the difference there is the cheaper ones are steel and the expensive ones are alloy. What else to say about the components? Not much really. We've got Nuke-Proof Horizon headset, bottom bracket, got Infinity saddle, DMR bolt, magnesium pedals. Nowhere on this bike to mount a bottle cage, which is absolute pain, but we've fixed that eventually by strap-on bottle cage on the top tube, and also a couple on the fork legs, which work fairly well, so I can carry 750mm on here and 2 half-litre. I mean, I could carry, you know, bigger bottles on there, but obviously it's going to mess the handling up. Did try mounting a bottle cage on the seat post, which works fine until you compress the suspension. There's so much travel in this suspension that basically grounding out against the tyre, which is no use at all, so we have this compromise solution. So that's what we got, but how is it to ride? Well, this is absolutely fantastic machine. I've got to say, this is way over specified for the kind of riding I do, but as you'd expect, it's super light, super strong, and more than anything, super comfortable. I mean, this suspension, 150mm, you know, you could argue it's way over specified for the kind of riding I do, which is largely on bridleways and back country roads and so on. But that said, you know, this is like riding an armchair. It's you can ride over the roughest of terrain, and it's beautifully smooth, very compliant. I'm not diving off jumps and drops and things like that, but nevertheless this is absolutely smooth as anything. It's just a beautiful ride. Did take this bike for some serious or relatively serious-ish mountain biking not too long after I built it, so I think end of September last year. Took it to the Brecon Beacons, mainly to ride the Gap road, but certainly a great bike for riding in those conditions as well as closer to home. Not a very practical bike in some ways, apart from the struggles to carry water. There's no way to put luggage on this bike, so you couldn't, realistically wouldn't be a good bike packing machine unless you wanted to travel really lightly. But I just can't get over that massive suspension, and I don't know to what extent this DW link system that Pivot has on its bikes, is the thing that makes the difference, or whether it's just the sheer amount of travel. But as I keep saying, it's just super comfortable, and with this Infinity saddle, it's the best all-round compromise that I've ever had, really. So there it is, the Homebrew hybrid trail bike. Absolutely fantastic bike. Certainly the most comfortable and versatile riding bike that I've ever owned. So even though it's built with more or less cost-effective components, pretty light bike, and it rides absolutely fantastic. I mean, this is an enduro bike trending towards a downhill bike, which is absolutely not what I'm using it for. I'm using it for a general runabout trail riding kind of machine. Not too wild about the space age looks, but for me it's just a very light, very versatile and very, very comfortable ride, which I can pretty much take anywhere. I'm sure I'll be riding this for a couple more years yet.